Amazon Prime's new Batman cartoon gender swapped the villain Penguin to a woman. Why would they do that, you ask? Well, the creator said the move was inspired by a drag queen and numerous musicals. So here to discuss is Ryan Kinel, U.S. Navy veteran and host of RK Outpost on YouTube. So Ryan, thanks for joining us. Now, this move has generated a lot of criticism, and I see a Batman poster behind you. So I need your take on what's happening right now in this series.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. And yeah, it's certainly not the only thing right now in entertainment or the culture war space that seems absolutely insane, but it certainly drew heavy criticism. You know, a Batman cartoon that supposedly was supposed to be in the vein to remind people of Batman, the animated series, the beloved cartoon from the 90s. But unfortunately, they decided to put identity politics first and foremost. And this is not the only change. They decided, I guess there's not enough great female villains in the Batman lineup, even though there's several that you can just name off the top of your head. They decided they had to gender swap Penguin. And it wasn't enough to just gender swap Penguin. You mentioned that they said, you know, we were inspired by drag queens. It's a penguin that's grotesque, that's fat, that's ugly, but it's a woman. And if maybe this penguin was using her, I guess, her power to intimidate people, to make them, you know, bend the knee to her, that'd be one thing. But no, everybody just thinks that this disgusting version of penguin's actually attractive. I don't really understand what they thought was going to happen, but certainly they've been at the heavy end of some major criticism, myself included. I've got the Batman poster. I've got the Batmobile right behind me. And I'm not sure why you'd think that this is a good idea, but you take another female villain like Harley Quinn, who's also in this series. What did they do with her? Well, she had to be a lesbian, and they had to race swap her as well. It just goes back to getting into these things that are beloved and pillaging them and bastardizing them for the sake of modern day identity politics.
I think we have to say, not that there's anything wrong with that, Ryan. Go ahead, Matt.
Right. Well, of course, there's nothing wrong with all those things mixed together. Anyway, I want to go to something else quick and get your take on it. 2 data points from Disney right now. I mean, one, obviously everyone's talking about Snow White, the woke actress, the de-wokeification of Snow White. You know, that's all over the place. Here's the beloved classic, up in flames or not, and they're struggling with it. 2, you may have seen this. That Park Place was talking about the fact that there's still men dressed as women who are, cutting a little girl and boy's hair at the park. And we ran an article a while ago about how there are, drag queens at Disney. I just want to throw both of those to you and give us your take on where Disney's at now.
You know, Disney as a company for so long has really relied on this aspect of being family friendly. Well, unfortunately, over the past couple years, it's hard to say that this is a company that any family person, anyone with children would describe as family friendly. You brought up what's happening in the theme parks right now. You go there, you might have drag queens dressed as women, or you might go to the Bippity Boppity Boutique. Say you're a family, you spent thousands of dollars to go down and make your little daughter's dreams come true in such a magical way. And you walk up to get her, made over like a princess, and you're greeted by a mustachioed or bearded man who is in a dress. They're going to be the ones that end up doing your daughter's hair, that put makeup on, that dress them. It's just a strange feeling. And no, I'm not going to say no one, but most normal people don't consider that family friendly. They don't want to be involved in that. And this is really becoming a problem for Disney, because the way that they have continued to build this brand and the theme parks have been so big, it's by people going and taking their children, because it's the parents that make these decisions. They take their children, they spend all this money to give them a magical experience. And what happens when that child grows up? They want to pass that down to their children. So they end up with this generational vibe going on. And this is how they've been able to sustain this for so long for this company. That's not going to happen anymore, because half the people in this country are going to be turned off by Disney's inherent political ideology. So when you're talking about the experiences people have in the theme parks, that's a big thing. And people are deciding to go to places like Universal Studios, at least here in Florida. They're taking up the market share from Disney while Disney continues to push this woke nonsense. And certainly on the other aspect, you brought up Snow White. Rachel Zegler has been a complete and total disaster for them. They virtue signaled very hard 3 years ago when they walked her out and said, "We're proud to announce our Latina Snow White. We're so stunning. We're so brave." I'm not sure if they knew she was going to be such a massive problem for them. But from, crapping all over the original Snow White movie to saying it's not 1937 anymore, we're going to put modern day identity politics into this story. We saw the backlash that stemmed from that. And now, even just after the debut of yet another teaser trailer for Snow White that got hammered, that got ratioed, it's sitting at over 500,000 dislikes right now on YouTube compared to only about 70,000 likes. That's not great. And Rachel Zegler, while promoting this trailer, decides to follow up with a very divisive political statement. Oh, and by the way, free Palestine. Like, that is not something I think Disney can be okay with right now.